Jesus. Mercy rewrote my life. How could have fallen my soul, cast down, but mercy rewrote my life. Can you hold the sandwich? The Bible says, when you read in John chapter 8, there's a beautiful story of a woman who was caught in adultery. The Bible tells us that the Pharisees and the scribes and the Pharisees and the Bali, they took this lady. She was caught in the act of adultery. You can imagine how she looked. The Bible says they pulled to this lady. They pulled to Jesus, and Jesus was there. They said to him, preacher, teacher, this woman was caught in the act of adultery.
Okay, so we are about to start. Wow, it's good to see the people this morning. So I would like to just extend a warm welcome to each and every one of you. Our dapper minister, Minister Stella Ndabeni-Abrahams, thank you for gracing us with your presence this morning. We've got quite a number of delegates that is with us. Our chairperson for the CEDA board, Mayor Xoliswa Daku. We have the chairperson for the Incubator, Ms. Edith Fries. We've got Councillor Nomadlozi Nkosi, and as well as the NYDA board chairperson, Ms. Asanda Lovatla. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, you would know that Gibela Business Incubator has been in this area for a couple of years now. And we are really, really happy that we have the opportunity this morning to launch the incubator and just make sure that people that's residing within this area are able to benefit from the, some of the programs and the initiatives that this specific incubator have. I would also like to just say thank you to Gibela Rail Consortium as well as the Department of Transport for the work that they are doing and what they're putting into this specific incubator, because that we could not have done if it was not for the partnership that we see with them. But before we go any further, I would like all of you to stand up, and we are just going to sing our national anthem.
Go
Thank you so very much. You can take your seats. I think we are warmed up now and we are able to continue with what we are doing this morning. I think this relationship is a relationship that did not start yesterday. Refilwe would know as we were working on what you see today as the Gibela Business Incubator and how that came into being. But that we would leave for some of the delegates to come, or the distinguished guests to come and speak about. Justine, thank you so much also for being here and just making sure that the center is where it is today. Now, this is an exciting time in our lives because, I mean, the community of Kwa-Thema now have an incubator that they can turn to that would be able to assist them with, business, whether they want to start a business, whether they want to take their business to the next level, but they now have, an entity that is within the community that they can turn to. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that it is also just important to say that as the Department of Small Business Development, together with the Small Enterprise Development Agency, we are really, really ecstatic for the work that has been taking place here within Kwa-Thema. Now, I don't want to speak a lot because we want to make sure that this program gets off and we are able to do it in the time allocated for it. Having said that, you are all welcome. Sit back, relax, and just hear what our dignitaries have to share with you this morning. Just by the show of hand, how many of you are actually incubatees in the center? We can give them a round of applause. That means that the center is definitely doing what it's supposed to do. Without any further ado, let me call on Councillor Nomadlozi Nkosi just to come and do the welcome remarks for us this morning. You can give her a hand of applause.
No matter what you're going through.
Our beautiful Minister of Small Business Development, Ms. Stella Ndabeni-Abrahams, our young person and a young woman and a beautiful young woman, the chairperson of the NYDA board, Ms. Asanda Luwata, the chairperson of the CEDA, Mrs. Dr. Owethu Sisibuyiswa, the chairperson of Gibela board, Ms. Edith, ward councillor of Ward 77, Councillor Dunjane, Angimboni Lana, also the HOD of Economic Development in the city of Ekurhuleni, and Tate Morris Chauke, the esteemed guests, all of you, beautiful guests, you are welcome and good morning. It is a great pleasure and excitement to stand before you this morning to welcome you to the city of Ekurhuleni as we appreciate a partnership that works being made practical. As I stand here, I'm reminded of the power of collaboration and the potential that lies within each one of us. Minister, today we gather here with the heavy hearts as the city of Ekurhuleni and South Africa at large, as we commemorate a tragic event in our nation's history, the assassination of Comrade Chris Hani, who was assassinated in Don Park, Boksburg on the 10th of April 1993. As we reflect on this painful occasion, we also honor the enduring legacy of a man whose life was cut short, but whose spirit continues to inspire all of us. Chris Hani was not just a political figure. He was a beacon of hope, a champion of justice, and a tireless advocate for equality. His unwavering commitment to the struggle against apartheid served as a guiding light of millions of South Africa, galvanizing us to stand up against oppression and fight for freedom. However, today, we embark on a journey that holds the promise of endless possibilities. Together, let us seize this opportunity to build a community that fosters innovation, empowers entrepreneurs, and drives positive change in our society. It is very clear that in order to develop our local economy as the city of Ekurhuleni, we need all stakeholders to be on board, and we appreciate this initiative on behalf of the city of Ekurhuleni. I invite each and every one of you to join us in this exciting venture, to collaborate, to innovate, and to make a difference. Together, let's write the next chapter in the story of entrepreneurship, right here in our business incubator. There is a saying in parody that says, open quotes, the raindrops may be little in shape and size, but their continuous fall makes a river flow, close quote. So remember, small, consistent efforts make a massive changes in the lives of the people. So have patience and love being persistent in what you aim to achieve. You are all welcome in the city of peace, the city of Ekurhuleni. I thank you.
Let's give another round of applause. With having said that, the city of peace, that's just beautiful. So I would also like to say welcome to the city of Ekurhuleni. Ladies and gentlemen, I would also just like to greet our CEO, Mr. Mbata. Thank you, sir, for allowing us to do this work. Our executive for the Cedar Technology Program, Mr. Sipho Ngai, as well as Refilwe from Gibela. Thank you, ma'am, for being here this morning. I have not seen Sis Boyiswa. Oh, there she is. Morning, ma'am. How are you doing? Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for being with us this morning. So, as I've said, that we want to make sure that the people of Ekurhuleni, specifically within, Kwa-Thema, are able to access the services that's within the center. And for that, we have seen some of the work that was done by the center, and we would like to just, follow up on that work and make sure that we are able to do it in the coming years as well. Now, Dr. or Prof. Edith Fries, the chairperson of the Gibela Business Incubator Board, would now come and do her opening remarks and the purpose of the day, speaking about the work that is being done here at Gibela. Can we put our hands together and give her a round of applause?
Thank you, Program Director, and good morning, everybody. It is my honor and privilege to make these opening remarks at the launch of the Gibela Business Incubator today. Today is a very significant milestone in our journey towards fostering entrepreneurship and innovation in our community. I'd like to observe protocol and first extend a warm welcome to the Honorable Minister of Small Business Development, Ma'am Stella Ndabeni-Abrahams. Thank you very much, Minister, for your presence. And I'd also like to appreciate the designated representative of the city of Ekurhuleni, Ma'am Councillor Nomadlozi Kosi, who just welcomed us. Minister, your presence in particular today underscores the importance of the significance which you attach to supporting small and medium businesses that in their quest and their responsibility to drive economic growth and local economic development. We are deeply honored by your presence and thank you for being here. We've been keenly waiting on this launch of Gibela. Minister, we're in our 4th year of operation. As I said earlier, or I haven't said yet, but we're here for 4 years. So today, unlike incubators that are starting out new, where you can still smell the cement and the paint on the walls, you're not only launching the incubator, but also our first cohort of graduates. So I think that is quite a milestone, something to celebrate. Now, Gibela Business Incubator first opened its doors on the 1st of April 2020 in the midst of the level 5 COVID lockdown. So you can imagine, we all were confined to our homes. So instead of going ahead with because what you'll see inside this beautiful structure inside, in fact, was just the empty hall that we inherited. And to convert that into the functional space that we have now, thank you, took longer. And as a result, we only took in our first cohort of 10 incubators in the first quarter of the fourth quarter rather of the 2020-21 financial year. But this hall, which the city of Ekurhuleni donated to us to use for entrepreneurship development, became a functional space. Since our inception, we've actually made remarkable strides. One of the key aspects, I think, is it echoing? Or am I too close to it? What's happening here? Can we, thank you. We have, the board has just been invaluable, and many of my board colleagues are here this morning. Some of the actually hosting GBI at these premises, rent-free, because we are delivering small business development and enabling local economic development, which is core to the mandate of the council. So it is for the services rendered. I think the city needs to be acknowledged for that. And we really appreciate our funders, that is the Gibela Rail Consortium and and CEDAR, and we appreciate the city who you can imagine what we would be paying in rent and utilities if that had not been the case. We also want to extend our thanks to the Council for Industrial and Scientific Research, the CSIR. Are they here today? For their unwavering support through the Ekurhuleni Regional Innovation Network platform, which we as GBI are hosting on behalf of CSIR. Through that program, which was started in 2022, we have witnessed tangible incomes because of the growth of our SMMEs, which resulted in one of our beneficiaries, our incubatees, securing funding from the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition, amounting to about 6.3 million rand. So thank you very much, CSIR, for your continued partnership. And then we welcome all our incubatees. I'm so glad that there are so many of you present today. You will be able, the rest of us will be able to meet the incubatees and talk to some of them, as some of them are exhibiting their products and services outside. Today we stand on the threshold of a new chapter on GBI's journey. So let us move forward, and I want to extend my warm welcome to all of you, and thank you for joining us to the launch of Gibela Business Incubator and to the graduation of our first cohort of incubatees. Thank you.
Come on, guys, we can do better than that. Let's just give her another round of applause. So I think, Minister, what comes out is that partnerships is quite important for the work that we are doing between the Department of Small Business Development, CEDAR, and the other partners that as part of this institution called Gibela Business Incubator. Now I'm going to move forward and I'm going to ask Ms. Justine Mohashoa, the Incubation Center Manager, to come and just do an overview of the Gibela Business Incubator, and as the chair highlighted, also on performance, just a little bit of what has been happening. Let's give her a round of applause.
Good morning, everyone, and warm welcome to GBI, Gibela Business Incubator. A warm welcome to the Minister of Small Business Development, Ms. Stella Ndabeni-Abrahams, CEDAR Chairperson, Ms. Kolisa Daku, and NYDA Chairperson, Ms. Asanda Lowaka, Gibela Rail Transport Executive, Dr. Buiswa Mngonolowani, and the Councillor, Ms. Sivuyile Ngodwani. Greetings to everyone and greetings to our SMMEs. As the chairperson has said, today marks a very significant day for us as an incubator. Starting in 2020, in the midst of COVID-19 lockdown level 5, it was hard. And in the midst of all that, we even lost our first BDM, Mr. Maxwell Kakwa, who was our business development manager. He passed on through car accident. May his soul rest in peace. And I would like to, have a special thanks to the minister. I know that I was too forward, during the presidential SMME award. I approached the minister and said, hey, minister, you remember, I'm Justine, I'm from Gibela Business Incubator. Remember, we were supposed to launch the incubator in 2022, and, whatever happened, happened. And the minister, made me in contact with some of her staff. And since that day, we've been talking until today. So that initial meeting, Minister, has, led us to where we are today. Thank you so much. And I'm not going to be long. I'm just going to also thank the following institutions that have been, very supportive in funding our incubatees. NYDA, we've got like 35% of our SMMEs here, incubatees, are youth. And NYDA is taking care of, funding them. And they are also co-locating. NYDA's got, a representative coming here every Thursday to meet with the SMMEs. And the other institution is SIFA. SIFA has also been very instrumental in our growth, especially for the SMMEs. We've signed an MOA with them, and they have, approved to the total of just more than 2 million of grants and loans to our SMMEs. They are also co-locating here every Wednesday. There is somebody from SIFA coming here assisting the SMMEs. And also CEDA, Ekurhuleni branch, they're also helping us with application for TTAs and also assisting, with exports. One of our SMMEs had an opportunity to go to Dubai through one of the programs that, the DTI ran through the department. And also the other one is the one that the chairperson has mentioned of one of our innovator that got approved for about 6.3 million from the DTIC. So we are very grateful for that. CEDA Ekurhuleni, as I've said, and also the CSIR, the one that the chairperson has mentioned. We are very grateful for this partnership. And this, funding that has been afforded to our SMMEs has seen the growth in our SMMEs. Hence today, we're having 5 of those SMMEs graduating out of the program. So it's through those partnership and those, funding support. Because some of these SMMEs, when they come here, they know how to make a product, but they're struggling to sell, they're struggling to cost, they're struggling to market. And that's where the incubator comes in and help them in, structuring their business. We have to also engage SARS to come and talk to them about, returns, how to file returns, and the CIPC. Some of them, when they come, they have not even have a business account. They have their own personal account where they'll do everything in that. Then we have to teach them to know the right way to do business. You must have your business account. You are allowed to pay yourself from the business account, but you cannot be using your business account as a personal account. So now, there are some of them, they are now having, workshops in some factories, whereas previously they were operating from home. At the backyard of their yards. But now they've got places where they can rent space and operate from there. So the highlight of the incubator, for a young incubator, I still call us young because 4 years, I know of incubators that are like 15 years in the space. Right now, recently, the total of SMME that have been supported in the program since 2020 to date are 168. And then the SMMEs that are accessing business development, those that just come, need for advice, and then they just want to be assisted with this and that, and they don't have a contract with us, but they come on a daily basis. Those we have assisted about 254 to date. And those that have, interventions made to their businesses also, to date we have assisted about 692. And then the jobs that were created by these incubatees, to date we have 121 permanent jobs that were created by the SMEs. And these jobs, we have right now 272 that has been sustained through the years. 272 jobs sustained. And then the exciting part for me is the turnover generated by the SMMEs. All in all, since 2020 to date, we are sitting at 20 million. And the value of the SMMEs approved through, different, partners, like I've mentioned, the CIFA, the CEDA, the DTIC, we are sitting at 10.2 million rands. So, Minister, like I said, our incubator had, 100% black-owned, incubators, and then 49% of those are, women-owned businesses, and then 35% are youth, and then we've got 2% of people with disability in the incubator. Thank you. I don't want to mess it up. I think I've said enough. Thank you.
Thank you. Come on, guys, let's give another round of applause. I mean, 121 permanent jobs. That is something that we can be proud of. 10.2 million rands approved. Definitely we can be proud of what the center has been doing, with what they have given. I don't want to become biblical minister, but the Bible, in fact, God asked, what do you have in your hands? So that you use what you have in your hands to multiply it. And we see that multiplier effect. We see how, young people get assisted, and we want to help them even more because we understand that we've got a very young, most of the people living in South Africa is young people. So we want to make sure that the economy flourishes because of the contribution of these young people to our economy. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move forward. I just want to ask that cell phones must be on silent, please. That's all I'm going to ask. Then we can move forward. I would like to also acknowledge Mr. Kaifas Chauke from the Ekurhuleni municipality. You are welcome, sir. Thank you. Then we're going to move forward with a message of support by Gibela Rail, Dr. Buiswa Mngono Liwani. She's the corporate affairs executive. I'm going to invite her onto the podium so that she can come and just give us a message of support. Thank you.
The Honorable Minister for Small Business Development, Stella Ndabeni-Abrahams, the EMM councillors, Councillor Ngosi and Dunjana, and the colleagues or officials from Ekurhuleni, the board chairperson of the Gibela Business Incubator, Prof. Fris, and the board members present here, CEDA board chairperson, Ms. Xoliswa Dagu, CEDA management and officials, Gibela Business Incubator, CEO, Ms. Justin Mokhwashwa, management and staff members, board chairperson of NYDA, Ms. Ayanda Luwata, chairpersons of local business chambers and forums from Nigel, Tsakane, Duduza, Kwa-Thema, and the surrounding areas, Gibela executives, colleagues, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great honor and a privilege for me to stand here today as we launch the Gibela Business Incubator. Honorable Minister, today we are reaping fruits of hard work done since 2017-2018 when the Gibela team met the CEDA team to conceptualize the Gibela Business Incubator. And this was the time when Gibela started unpacking its vision around the upliftment and development of the Ekurhuleni municipalities. This is the time when Gibela was trying to look for friends. We were introducing ourselves in the area. We were fairly new, still building the factory. And during that time, we wanted to identify strategic partners that we could forge long-term relations with, and CEDA and Ekurhuleni were one of those. So this incubator was born out of those long conversations. And with the reality of the high failure rate of SMMEs as well as the potential of creating jobs by this sector, particularly those who are gazelles, we made sure that as the Gibela rail company, we wanted to invest in the space. Honorable Minister, we've made great strides in executing our mandate, which is that of revitalization of the railway industry. Between 2018 and March 2024, we have manufactured 214 trains out of the 2030 target of 600 trains. We've successfully also built capacity and capability to repair and overhaul train components. We're not only focusing on building and maintaining trains, but we're also focusing on improving economic well-being of South Africans. And hence, we are here today to come and launch this incubator. We've made great progress when it comes to our economic development plans. For example, we have initiatives under the local content initiative. We have our skills development program. We have employed 1,200 employees at Gibela. And out of that 1,200, more than 400 employees come from this area. They come from Tsakane, Duduza, Kwa-Thema, Alra Park, Gelexdal, Mackenzieville, Daggafontein, and Dunota. This is no coincidence. It's due to deliberate actions by Gibela, where we wanted to make sure that we do partner with Ekurhuleni communities. And this is through forums such as your stakeholder engagement, your technical forum, and the PBO forum, which are structures that were put in place for us to collaborate and align with our stakeholders. To further demonstrate our commitment in uplifting the Ekurhuleni communities, between 2019 and March 2024, we have spent 153 million rands on local suppliers that are coming from Alra Park, Benoni, Brakpan, Duduza, Dunota, Kwa-Thema, Nigel, and Tsakane. One of our chief pillars under the Gibela Economic Development Plan is enterprise development, where we have committed as the company to spend more than 600 million rands over a 10-year period. And the 600 million rands is based on our original contract, which is a 51 billion rand contract. And within that, we have identified initiatives where we want to develop the small black enterprises. And the incubation program, it's part of those initiatives. Our intention is to make sure that when we develop suppliers, they become financially and operationally independent. We've also committed and set up an enterprise development fund to a value of 125 million rands in terms of developing and supporting black-owned businesses. In addition to that, we have an in-house team, our supplier development team, which is supporting suppliers to become technically developed and operationally independent. Today, we're launching one of our flagship community projects that's focusing on enterprise development. I think the chairperson earlier, when she spoke, she did acknowledge the contribution that we've made. We have set aside 20 million rands over a period of 5 years, and that's set aside for the development and the establishment and operationalization of this incubator. And so far, as highlighted by the chairperson, or the CEO, we've spent about 10.2 million rands on this incubator. So for us, today's launch is quite significant. It's significant to all its stakeholders because it's a culmination of the hard work and the effort from different teams for us to make sure that we realize the vision of this incubator. This incubator serves as an example of advancing the economic reconstruction and development plan that was released in 2020 by the presidency. It's also a demonstration to our customer PRASA that we signed and made a commitment in 2013, and we have honored that commitment. We're excited when we look at the progress that's made by the incubator, and would like to congratulate those entrepreneurs who are going to graduate today. We'd like to thank our partners, SEDA and Ekurhuleni, for the support provided thus far on a project that has yielded such great benefits for the community. In addition, we would like to thank the board of the Incubator, led by Prof. Fris, and the Incubator CEO, Justine Mohashwa, for providing great leadership during the establishment of the Incubator. I'd also like to take an opportunity on behalf of Gibela to thank Refilwe. Most of the time we don't attend meetings, but she's always there and driving the Incubator for us. Thanks, Refilwe. We don't appreciate you enough. We wish the Incubator all the success for the future. May it continue to do the good work it has already started in the upliftment of communities. I thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's give another round of applause. That is the Gibela rail. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move on with the program, and I'm going to ask, I think that what we are saying throughout this program is that partnerships is quite important for us. We, as an ecosystem that is responsible for entrepreneurship and SMME development, can never do the work alone. We always need people that would come on board and assist us to help entrepreneurs and SMMEs. The Global Entrepreneurship Monitor report says that there's just over 2.7 million entrepreneurs in the country. Imagine if we had to do it alone, chairperson, we would not be able to do it. And on that note, I am going to call Ms. Asanda Luvatra from the NYDA board. She is the chairperson there. Let's give her a round of applause as she comes. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Program Director. Allow me to acknowledge the Minister of Small Business Development, Minister Stella Ndabeni-Abrahams. Allow me to also acknowledge we've got members of Parliament that are present. We've got Honorable Robert Mashego, who is also the whip of the Portfolio Committee on Water and Sanitation. Allow me to also acknowledge Councillor Nomadlozi Nkosi, who of course welcomed us warmly this morning. Let me also acknowledge the board chairperson of SEDA, Ms. Xoliswa Taku, the CEO of SEDA, Mr. Mbata, Gibela Rail CEO and Executive Management, the chairperson of Gibela Business Incubator, Ms. Edith Fries, as well as the Gibela Business Incubation CEO, Ms. Justine Mohashwa. I apologize if I butchered the surname. Members of the media, but most importantly, young people that are gathered here this morning. Allow me to also briefly reflect on the importance of this particular month and why it was important, well, we feel as young people that the launching of such a progressive program would be launching on this particular month. Now, April, as we would have seen the country commemorating the life and times of fallen stalwart, Comrade Solomon Kalushi Mahlangu, whom, as we know, was a young person who was brutally murdered by the apartheid regime. But over and beyond that, we were also commemorating the life and times of Mamu Winnie Madikizela Mandela, whom we also know was a leader who fought tirelessly against an oppressive system, rather. But today, for the people of Ekurhuleni, we are also commemorating the life of Comrade Chris Thembisileani. Councillor Nomadlozi mentioned that Comrade Chris was assassinated just a stone throw away from here, Minister. And, you know, in fact, the ward or the area that I grew up in, which was Dawn Park, was a ward where Comrade Chris Hani was assassinated. And so when we say as young people that we sit on the shoulders of giants, this is exactly what we mean. because we have an appreciation as young people that the fruits that we are reaping and the fruits that we are enjoying are a direct result of the sacrifices that were made by our fallen heroes. Now, we would like to thank the Minister of Small Business Development for inviting us to launch, or rather at the launch of the Gibela Business Incubation. It is indeed a glorious day, particularly for the people of Ekurhuleni. Now, this is especially true when you consider the mandate of the National Youth Development Agency in the areas of youth development and empowerment in South Africa. Now, economic transformation, training and development are some of the central pillars that guide the work that we undertake. Now, which is why we are extremely excited about the launch of this particular incubator, as it seeks to empower and develop the youth of our country, the objectives that are quite in line with the work that we do as the agency. Now, the excitement, unfortunately, comes with the knowledge of the lived realities that young people, particularly in this region, are faced with. The unfortunate reality is that young people in Ekurhuleni bear the brunt of the triple challenges of unemployment, of poverty, as well as of inequality. Now, if we look at just some of the statistics and how young people in this region are placed in so far as looking at the overall provincial statistics, we know that unemployment, when we look at the expanded definition rather of unemployment, the city of Ekurhuleni is sitting at around 41% of unemployment in the region compared to the provincial unemployment rate, which is sitting at around 39%. We have the city of Joburg that has an unemployment rate of 37%. So whilst we are reflecting and launching this particular progressive incubator in the place of peace, or how some affectionately call it or refer to it as the 10th province, it is important to also be cognizant of the enormous opportunities that are positioned within this particular region. Now, the city of Ekurhuleni is the manufacturing as well as the logistic hub of the country, and is well connected via rail, via road and air to your domestic as well as the international markets. Now, the region contributes about 30% of the manufacturing production in South Africa. It is also the home of the continent's largest airport, as we know, OR Tambo International Airport. But while these figures seem to be impressive, as I've already stated, the regional picture insofar as unemployment rate for young people really leaves much to be desired. But as stated earlier, there is enormous potential that exists within this particular region. Now, aside from the various sectors that contribute quite tremendously to the region, we've got sectors such as your manufacturing, finance and business sector, community services and government sector. To a smaller extent, you also have your hospitality sector. The aviation and the rail sector are areas that hold great potential for economic growth, particularly for young people. But over and beyond just looking at the various sectors, we also need to be alive to the realities that young people are not able to be afforded quality education in this particular region. Now, in our respective corners, we've made clarion calls for the establishment of a university here in Ekurhuleni, because, Honorable Minister, Ekurhuleni is the only metro in the country that does not have a university. Now, while we would have heard the President in 2020 delivering his State of the Nation address, he did commit to establishing a university in Ekurhuleni, which will primarily focus on areas of applied engineering, logistics, science, aviation, tourism, and hospitality. But what's important is, and how we as young people would also have an appreciation on the role of collaboration and the role of ensuring that partners come on board for the realization of the clarion calls that have been made by young people. Now, Ekurhuleni also hosts one of the largest integrated single-site precious metal refining and smelting complexes in the world, which is the Rand Refinery. We would have made clarion calls and many calls as young people to be able to establish what has now been referred to as Aerotropolis, which really looks at economic development and economic activities that are built and centered around an airport. And we have an appreciation that when we look at Aerotropolis, that there has to be this nodal development that takes place where we'll have sectors ranging from education, economic activities, and a range of work and empowerment opportunities, particularly for young people. Now, with your indulgence, Minister, I would like to call upon young people to also enthusiastically participate in the development of the OR Tambo International Airport precinct development, more especially those that will be incubated here. We must ensure that young people know about the OR Tambo Western Precinct, where mixed-use developments will be established. You must contribute to the Gauteng IDZ JMP development, which will be a jewelry manufacturing precinct that will also accommodate your precious, semi-precious, and semi-precious mineral and stone beneficiation. It's also important to highlight that when we look at the aspect of beneficiation, in the various corners as young people, we've resolved and we've been able to advocate for the implementation of export restrictions on critical minerals in order to encourage beneficiation and ensure that local strategic management of our domestic resources takes place. Now, our dream for the future is to see young people involved in all sub-developments of this and many other particular projects that will be located in the city of Ekurhuleni. Whether it will be the Atlas Township, as well as the Airports Company of South Africa Park Township development, together with your agro-processing and fuel cell technology development initiatives. Now, that is why we support the launch of this facility this morning. Located a stone throw away from the important Gibela Rail Transport Consortium main plant, the introduction of the Gibela business incubation into this particular ecosystem holds numerous and a potential that is beyond what we can imagine. Now, the launching of this particular progressive incubator correctly positions the work of the generation of yesterdays and the selfless struggles they fought for us young people to be able to enjoy the fruits of this democracy. Now, we are encouraged by the progress as well as the work that has been made by the department through the various partners and stakeholders to be able to establish and launch this particular initiative. Now, there's overall consensus that government alone cannot address the multiple challenges that are facing young people. And Program Director, as I conclude, the emphasis of collaboration, the emphasis of ensuring that partnerships are developed and maintained becomes so much more important. Now, part of the youth development principles of the NYDA include promoting the youth participation in community and civic decision-making. Now, it's important to have an appreciation that the gains of the 30 years of our democracy will be lost if young people do not participate in the democratic processes, so that we're able to protect the gains that have been made in the last 30 years. So with those, Program Director, as a youth, ours is to not only access the various opportunities brought about by our democracy, such as the development initiative, but to also participate in democratic processes to protect and ensure that we are able to transition to our next democratic processes and years. So with those, thank you very much, Program Director, and we'd like to extend our heartfelt congratulations to the department and the various partners and partnerships that have been able to make this particular launch a success. Thank you.
Come on, let's give her another round of applause. I think she has said such a lot, but one thing that stood out was that 41% unemployment within this region and how we need to work together to make sure that we bring it down, we close the gap so that people in Ekurhuleni find meaningful jobs so that they can also contribute to, you know, the GDP of this country and become economically emancipated. Now, she leads our Small Enterprise Development Agency as the chairperson. She is a ball of fire. She comes and she makes sure that we do the work that we need to do on a daily basis. And that is to change the lives of SMMEs wherever they are at. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to now ask our chairperson, Ms. Xoliswa Taku, to come and give us a message of support. Thank you.
Thank you, Colin. Thank you very much. Good morning again to my esteemed colleague, Sikhula kunye no Minister. So there are times that I want to call and mbong and mafako. We are in this to win. Thank you very much for the role that you've given me to lead this wonderful institution. My heart always lies at CEDA during the day and at night, and they know I carry 2 laptops to make sure that the CEDA work continue. Let me also greet Prof. Edith Fries, who is leading a very important institution amongst ourselves, and the leadership from the ANC, specifically members of parliament, and as well as also MMCs who are what we are today because of this organization. Let us not forget that. And as well as also the NYDA that is amongst us. And the community at large that continues to benefit from these products that we are creating. And the wonderful part is that women are leading today. And I looked around us and it said, these are women that are making sure that women and men and young people are succeeding in South Africa. Let's give them a hand of applause. Thank you so much. Amongst all the leaders that are here, be it Gibela or anything, it's just women leading. So we appreciate that, and we praise the work that you are doing. And of course, I would be failing if we don't recognize that these institutions that are created are actually ensuring that South Africa becomes what it is today. We're grateful for the work that is done by our leadership. Let me start by saying that we've been waiting for this moment, Minister, as CEO has said. And when I was called on Monday, I said, okay, should I stay and continue with what I was telling you with the universities? But this is more important. We need to ensure that entrepreneurs grow. Abo professor, they must wait. So I'm here today to support and say thank you very much to the community of Ekurhuleni for being here today and ensuring that finally this work that is being done is accepted. And I'm very proud of the policies that we are creating, Sis Buyiswa, because it is the BE policy that has ensured that Gibela succeeds. And upon that success, you have the SMME Act that actually makes us to survive. When we see these prides, we actually feel that this practical work that South Africa is winning through an FDI that we are running, and as well as also the act that mandates us to ensure that small businesses are growing in South Africa. Those are the collaborations that we need so that our societies do not become hungry. We are grateful for that work and continue to love the work that we are doing. Indeed, CEDA is the voice of SMMEs, and SMMEs are CEDA. There will be no CEDA without SMMEs in South Africa. We want to make sure that we continue to add value to the different communities where we can, and my message to the team is always, in each and every household, we must hear about the CEDA product. Everybody must know. Whether you are still at high school, you must know that CEDA is there to ensure that you live your dream. And that is the work that we are doing by ensuring that we build these incubators so that they are not only in communities, but they are also in universities, and entrepreneurship is promoted at that level. It is so exciting when you find out we come from an education system, for some of us that is challenging, but we have won the battle to understand what is happening because of these institutions and continue to make sure that the younger ones are able to be innovative and create products that are going to change society. We want to see these hubs being the next silicons of South Africa, which are able to create new products. Siege uku export, importer, but knowing that our people can be able to produce local. But also we want our businesses to scale. We want our people to not just become startups. they must grow. Ute Chairperson, when we were sitting there, and she said that there's a need for this whole support system and mentorship for small businesses, even though they're incubators, and was every day ensuring that our products as CEDA, from a business support, we ensure that they're able to take by hand each and every person that has got an idea, that has got a vision. And that includes the incubators that we're building in South Africa. So that's why we're here today, to ensure that your vision is not lost and you participate in what the NYDA has said, the nodal points that South Africa is growing. You know, the sad part is when 40% has been put aside for entrepreneurs to participate, and yet the quality is not available. And it is our duty as incubators, got about 110 of them, Usipo is here he is, to build these institutions and ensure that they are able to take care of all the businesses. We're grateful to Gibela, and we continue to say that, Tina, we plant the seed, and then say to other partners, bring what you have, because with the little that we get from the fiscus, we need to have you as a partner. We are having a policy that encourages us to do this, which is NISAD, says collaborate and ensure that the ecosystem is part of that. Whether it's the private sector or the public sector, let us continue to ensure that we build these small businesses, or actually instill in our people what is correct. Another thing that is key, as much as we have youth in these incubators, it is also important, Minister, that we start a program where we're actually not looking at bigger businesses. You spoke about the UIF and NSF programs, where we actually take these businesses that are medium-sized and create an incentive program for them to absorb the unemployed youth and ensure that youth is employed in South Africa, because they do need the support and do want to employ, but they cannot afford to have all of the skills that they require within their businesses. And I want to say thank you very much for continuing to lead us and ensuring that we do the work that we are doing. To my CEO and the team, continue to do what you are doing. CEDA will continue to be the power. Thank you very much, Minister.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. Come on, let's give another round of applause. So we're moving on. We're moving on. Now, she came into our lives and she changed it completely. She changed what SME development looks like in South Africa. She came and she took our hands and she said, we are going to move forward. Our president at some point said, you know, when we are sent, we should go. You know, that song that says, I want to be there when the people, you know, turn around. That is who we have in our minister. And I would just like to say we honor her, and we would like to say thank you for your leadership. Without any further ado, let's welcome our minister as she is going to give us our keynote address. Thanks, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Colin. Let me take this opportunity to greet the May. You know what God sees, let it be received. The Councillor, Usis Nomadlozi Nkosi. I think I made that earlier prophecy because of what Ekurhuleni is undergoing as we speak. Allow me to take this opportunity once more to greet the chairperson of CEDA, the chairperson of the National Youth Development Agency, Professor, our board chair of Gibela Business Incubator, Dr. Bui, and the entire Gibela Rail team, our government officials, our executives from the agencies, but most importantly, the real economic freedom fighters. Hi, hustlers. Just a game, then. All right, of course, I greet everyone who's here today. Program director. This day, this month, this region, this province, from Nomzamo Matikizela Mandela to Solomon Galushi Mahlangu to Tata Krisani. And now we are here, Kuban Bagonyani, the future of our country. Indeed, history meets the future. Fellow brothers and sisters, it gives me a great honor to be standing here before you today on this important day that both the councillor and the chair of the NYDA have already outlined in terms of what it signifies in the democracy of our country. But of course, as I did indicate that history meets the future, how do we then build from the struggles that have been left by those that came before us? Which is why we continue to say, we are proud of our past, but we're more confident of the future. It is because of the work that is being done by selfless people who do not care if it is rainy, it is stormy, it is sunny, but they wake up every day and build on the dreams that they have. Those that came before us dreamed, they put action into the dream, they saw the need to mobilize others, those that were thinking like them. They brought everyone so that me and you today are where we are at. And therefore, when we have another category or another grouping that takes pattern from that, indeed it is something that is worth to be celebrated. Today, people want to enjoy freedom and democracy with no responsibilities. Today, people are self-centered, that what they have is theirs and theirs only. And if the other has, that must be destroyed. But we've seen a group of a new generation that has said, in their own lifetime, they will work towards delivering economic freedom. And as they say that, they did not wait for government to do things for them. They built on the ideas that they had, because everyone is gifted differently. They sat down and said they have ideas, and they looked for assistance around themselves. And I want to also thank those that availed the assistance, because if it was not for those that founded this incubator, the dreamers would not have had their dreams realized. The chairperson of CEDA makes reference to NISED, which is the National Integrated Small Enterprise Development Framework, that talks of the importance of ensuring that we bring all the stakeholders in the SMME ecosystem for us to achieve what we want to achieve. We've realized as government that we can't do it alone. We've realized that it is high time that we utilize the legal prescripts that we have in order to benefit our people. Those that came before us fought and delivered the political freedom. The next phase of our revolution that affects everyone, unfortunately. It's not a task for the politicians only, but it is everybody's responsibility. Is that of ensuring that our children, our youth, our country prospers, and we have everyone benefiting from the country's wealth, as determined by the Freedom Charter of the governing party. Today, the launch of this business incubator is yet another testament of our resolve to transform small businesses into real game changers and catalysts for economic growth and job creation. Most people take this work for granted. Hey, Stella, hey, you see, she's been demoted. She left communications to small business. And if people understand and are not ignorant, and if they look around themselves, not only in this country, but also in other countries that are surrounding us, they would know that the economies are booming because their governments and the private sector came together to support small and medium enterprises. And therefore, when the ANC took a cautious decision to say, although we had previously clubbed the small businesses under the Department of Trade and Industry, there's a need for us to have a standalone department that must pay attention and bring all efforts and therefore bring everyone in the ecosystem towards realizing the National Development Plan goals that we had set for ourselves. Now, those that pay attention to active participation in the democracy that we have, or those that read a lot, they will remember that the National Development Plan says South Africa must create 11 million new jobs by 2030. Nayazle. Okay, very few. And out of that 11 million, the NDP dictates that 90%, 85 to 90% of those should come from small and medium enterprises. Now this tells you that although that you are referred as small, but there's a huge task that you are carrying. Now every speaker that came here outlined the challenges that are faced by our SMMEs and our own economy. How do we therefore have SMMEs that must be able to create jobs and transform the economy that we have if there's no support? As government, once more, we took a conscious decision, having observed that statistics really indicate that small businesses have 37% chance of surviving the first 4 years of existence, and only 9% surviving 10 years. 70 to 80% dies in the first year. And only about half of those who survive remain in businesses for the next 5 years. Of course, this may be because of various factors. However, we also know that incubation is one of the interventions that will help reverse this trend through insightful research and analysis. This is why we are encouraged by the fact that small enterprises incubated tend to survive the first 2 years of trading. And when we have partners like the ones that we have here, we're confident that we're going to turn things around. We're confident that we're going to be able to create the 1 million new entrepreneurs that we need in order to tackle poverty and unemployment in this country. The primary goal of Business Incubation Program is to provide early and secondary stage business support and to cushion business ideas as they develop into standalone and fully fledged businesses. We therefore appreciate a startup or the first stage innovator. It will be very difficult to approach a commercial bank or any funding agency to receive funding immediately. This is why we believe that let's do more together as the governing party. We believe that government on its own can never be able to close the credit gap that is there, which is estimated by the IMF to be 350 billion rands. The gap to support SMMEs as we talk about financial support. South Africa needs to fundraise 350 billion rands if we are to have thriving SMMEs. And this is why we've made it our responsibility as we amend the legislation, the Small Enterprise Act, to say there's a need for us to establish a fund of funds. That's why we developed the policy on funding for small and medium enterprises, including the cooperatives of our country. And that fund of funds requires all stakeholders to come together. 350 billion is not a child's play. With a smaller budget that we have, but of course, we are a country of law. South Africa, ilizwe lomthetho. Now, how do we leverage on this mthetho that was used to discriminate against us to benefit the people of today as our constitution dictates? Recognizing the injustices of the past. If you read the preamble, every day it's important to remind yourself about the preamble of the Constitution so that you make a conscious decision to contribute and address what was fought for by other people. Now, every day we do that, we seek to say, if this legislation is a problem to the development of entrepreneurs, there's no reason that we don't repeal it. We are a government of people, by the people. People in their numbers made a conscious decision to vote. And when they voted, they said, do carry our aspirations, do make sure that you protect the public purse that we're entrusting you with, but most importantly, make sure that you better our lives. Now, as I talk about the importance of utilizing the legislation, I want to talk to all of you, which is my responsibility. Most people, especially the learned and the entrepreneurs, do not see the need to participate in legislative frameworks. They don't participate when we issue policies, when we call for comments, as we're expected to do, to say we're giving an opportunity to other people who may be interested in what we want to achieve in a particular policy. But our people, very few of them participate in that. I spoke of the policy on funding policy on small and medium enterprises. If I were to ask here, how many of you know about it? How many of you have made inputs to it? Ngin test. Verizanda sekubone. Oziveze. No one knows about it. It is either we're not doing very well in terms of raising awareness, but also at the same time it is ignorance, because all these are also found in the social media platforms that we all engage and gossip on. We then decided to go for the amendment of the Small Enterprise Act, which talks to an establishment of one agency. Now you're going to have CEDA, CIFA, and CBDA in one place as one agency, in order to address some of the challenges that we raised, the red tapes that people talk about when it comes to SMMEs. How many of you attended the public hearings? I love you. How many of you submitted electronic submissions? Now, as this happens, many of you are here today because you have children who are incubated here, because you yourselves are innovators, because you yourselves are participating in the ecosystem. But what makes the system to be successful, you're not paying attention to. As we celebrate 30 years of freedom, reminding people of exercising their hard-earned right by people who are not selfish, we really would like to call upon yourselves to exercise that right in participating in developing legislations that must enable you to do better. If it's not you, let it be your children. If your children, let it be your grandchildren and the next generations. Don't betray the struggles of the many people that died for this freedom. The impact of not participating when a legislation is developed results in legislations that at times undermine the transformational agenda that we want to see. Because those that want to undermine everything we have achieved since freedom, those that want to reverse the gains that we've achieved, are determined in ensuring that they reverse the transformational policies that we're putting in place. And Ninani Bizinidlalama dies. You are gambling with the democracy that you have, forgetting that if you are too young, that you never experienced apartheid, your grandparents did. They've shared those stories, because we will go back to how things were. This is why every day we fight to say we can never sit and relax when our people go home hungry. This is why we introduced the social protection through a Minister of Social Development to say, let there be the need to provide all those social grants because our people are hungry. But the National Development Plan that we had adopted says jobs must come from small businesses. And here we are here today to celebrate the work that has been done by the great innovators that are here today. But the question is, are you going to betray the revolution, or you will make sure that it becomes successful? Betraying it means that, as you always do, you will abandon the products that are produced by these entrepreneurs and go and buy somewhere else because you don't believe in supporting your own. But target. Because you think it is not good enough just because yeka Stella. You then come and complain about the influx of illegal trading in our country by foreign nationals, and then you say, government, what are you doing to protect our businesses? South Africa, ilizwe lomthetho. And the Constitution allows for people to trade in this country, whether it's South African or not. But then the same Constitution allows that we must protect the rights of South African citizens. But where are you when those legislations are put in place to defend that? Where are you to showcase that you really do not like that there's invasion of certain businesses by those that are trading illegally, and at times those that came to the country illegally, as Minister Motsoaledi is trying to address that, and you go and buy there and you come and complain. And when your kids get sick, when your houses fall when there's storms because of poor material that is being used in building them, and when our kids get to be abducted and raped and you can't account, and all the social ills that we see, we want to blame other people. Where are we when our children are raped? Where are we when our own small businesses in our own areas are asked for protection fee? As the people who claim to love this country more than anyone else. As the people who want to protect the inheritance of the next generations. Today, in this month that we celebrate freedom, I would like to revive your conscience to say, we have to protect the freedom that was fought for by other people. We have a responsibility to build for the next generations. And that building requires all of us to work together. Through our ecosystem facilitation model, we've been taking steps to coordinate the incubation and acceleration sector in South Africa. As the chairperson of CEDA has mentioned, we've established 110 incubation centers. We're going to 121 at the end of this financial year. And of course, at the center of it is the establishment of the incubation standards to enhance quality control across private and public incubation. Now, Prof. and the CEO, as we have the graduates that will be living here, it is our responsibility as the policy makers from our side to look if these policies that we are making are really yielding the intended results through established and sustainable businesses. Now they're out of the cocoon, because when they leave this incubation, they're gonna go and stand alone as businesses. We get to see the test of the taste and use it to in the actual running of the business. What is it that they were taught here? Did they know, do they know what are the critical drivers of the sectors they're involved in? The compliance issues that are required? Do they know who offers or the instruments that are there that must support their businesses? As much as I call upon the community to support them. Because if they know all of that and the community does not support them, it would mean that we would have wasted taxpayers' money. we've partnered with higher learning and science institutions to establish the Center for Entrepreneurship and Rapid Incubators. Again, the linkages between the institutions of higher learning and what we do. You know, the nice thing about being involved with small business development is that you're a minister of everyone. Everyone, from the garages where you sell fat cakes to the taxi rank where they sell umfano chisayo, to spa, to spare, to hair salon, to those that are contracted by PRASA and everyone. I mean, like literally to those that eat a lot. It's important to eat. And everyone that gets to think of anything that needs to happen. And now, if that happens, it tells you that you're not only responsible for people who are learned. You are responsible for both people who are illiterate and people who are literate. You are responsible for both people who are poor and those that are rich, because when I talk of access to markets, I need the big corporates to unbundle their value chains in order to enable participation by small and medium enterprises. So ngiyibridge. Mawufunde kakhulu ngiyakuthanda, mawufunde kancane ngikuthanda kakhulu, but mawenza kakhulu, I love you more. However, there are some challenges, such as the cost of development and implementation of incubation and accelerator programs, which is why once more our NISET calls upon those partnerships. Just on our annual budget for incubation program in 2022, we only had 281 million rands. And I just told you how important is this stage of ideation and assisting those that are involved at that level. Last year, 2023, we only had 160 million from our coffers, which is why we go back to saying, let's do more together with the partners that continue to enjoy economic spin-offs in our country, because they're also getting more profit. We've done very well in exposing some of our enterprises to local and international trade shows, as the chair and the CEO mentioned earlier. We've enabled them to showcase their products and solutions to the markets and potential investors. We've also facilitated the participation of some of our incubatees or startups in local and global pitching programs, and others when they left there smiling a lot. The CEO knows this. She has witnessed it. There is considerable progress made by the business incubator movement in South Africa. Alongside successes, however, there's a number of challenges that must be addressed to ensure the future progress of business incubation as a vital support platform for the SMME economy in South Africa. When the CEO spoke here, she mentioned various partners that came to the party, and majority of those were government institutions, whether you talk of SIFA, the NYDA, and many others, Ekurhuleni and Gibela, which is another partner from the rail side. All those contribute and make a difference, but there is a need for us to do more. And we can only do more, I want to emphasize this, when we work together. If the incubatees that are here, when they live here, actually when they're here, they don't see the need to work together. They're not gonna survive when they go outside, because it is the world of sharks. But if they begin to forge partnerships as entrepreneurs themselves here, they stand to win outside. Which is why amongst the products that we have is the cooperative support. Many people view cooperatives as initiatives that are only targeting unemployed. They don't really believe that cooperatives are businesses. When I make an example, in the agricultural sector, most of the people who are producing or supplying the potatoes you love so much, fish and chips and KFC streetwise too with the chips, most of the people there is cooperatives in the agricultural sector. I had asked some of the big retailers, especially in the food industry, Why are they not sourcing potatoes in the areas where they trade in? And some of them tells me, Minister, the small businesses that we have in the area do not meet the demand. And I asked, what language is that? Which English? Okay, I'm Bondo, so I struggle with English. So what English is that they're struggling with demand? They say if we need 50 bags of potatoes a week, they will only commit to having a capacity to provide 10 bags. And the reason is because entrepreneurs refuse to work together, because there's nothing stopping you that when a potential client says, I need 50 bags, and you know that you can produce 2, you go to the other person that produces 5, the other, and then you get your 50, and collectively you are able to grab the opportunity. But people are so self-centered to a point that they don't see when they stand to lose, and they want to come and blame other people. The freedom that we are celebrating today was fought for by people who had a vision, but people were not self-centered and selfish. People that knew that if they have information or knowledge, that must be shared in order to empower others. You know, those that went through another organization, they will know the slogan, each one, teach one. Don't question the grammar there. But anyway, each one, teach one. They knew that it is only when you know what I know and what you know you share with me that we can become better citizens. That is why when you look at the history of books, you find out that majority of the politicians then studied law, because it was the law that was used to undermine black people's rights in this country. We can never defeat a system if we don't understand its own architecture. It is important that we make it our responsibility that if you like to look beautiful like me, where does this makeup come from? When I buy it, at whatever amount, how many jobs get to be created? With what you wear or what you like, whether you eat or whatever. It starts there. People want to jump to big things, but have no appreciation of the smaller things that can make us to be big people. I want to call upon you to go back to basics, to defend the freedom that we have today, again, that was fought for by other people, by ensuring that we work together, by ensuring that we stop focusing on us as individuals, but making sure that we work with others and build on each other's strength for the economy of our country to grow, for us to be able to create the jobs that we need. If we don't do that, we're going to continue talking about being excluded in the economy, even though government is trying to introduce policies and legislations that try to address that. At the center of that is the utilization of technologies. We live in the internet era, and for anyone, especially entrepreneurs, if you think that your business can successfully thrive without you getting involved or looking at the digital solutions, it means you're going to be left out. I said the first phase was political freedom. The second phase we're embarking on is economic freedom. That requires us to understand its architecture. What will it take for us to meaningfully participate in the economy is not only the knowledge, but also the instruments that must enhance what we know and what we do. We are convinced that by placing small businesses at the center stage of our economy, we will be able to unlock economic opportunities and thus achieve inclusive economic growth and sustainable employment, particularly for women, youth, and people with disabilities. We are of the firm view that supporting the development of micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises offers an important vehicle for sustainable social and economic inclusion, as well as national cohesion. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish Gibela Business Incubator and all partners, I wish you well in the arduous task that lies ahead. There's a saying that says, and I quote, "It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men." Let's build when they are young. These incubators require our support. We shouldn't wait for the time when they struggle in business and say, "Hi, now they stand to be attached," and this and that. We should be able to see that now they are catching fever before they get into ICU. And that requires all of our support. Let's do more together. And of course, the ANC government loves you so much. Thank you, Program Director.
Let's give her another round of applause. You know, I'm not going to delve into what she had said, but the important thing that I've been hearing is that we need to be responsible citizens. And that is making sure that we, are part of what government is doing in terms of making sure that we create better lives for all of us. So with that, let's give her another round of applause. That is Minister Stella Ndabeni-Abrahams. Now, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, we're about to move into our graduation ceremony. The graduation ceremony is basically 5 of the entrepreneurs that have been part of the incubator that will be leaving the incubator, as they are now going to be sustainable businesses. But I'm taking again from what Minister has said, that don't think you are going to go out and do it alone. We need each other. So if you can work with the people that was with you in the center, so that you can not only build your own business, but as you move up, you take someone else with you. And that is what we are saying. So I'm going to call upon the chairperson for Gibela Business Incubator. I'm going to call on the minister, and I am going to call on the CEO, as they will be handing over these certificates to the incubatees that will be graduating today. Can we give them a round of applause? But that stones are not the best.
Thank you very much. This is a very important and special moment for us. And just to say, these 5 people who we're calling up, they've been in the program for long enough, and their businesses have matured. So they will no longer be in what we call physical incubation, where they will be, you want me to be here? Where they'll be every day and etc. But they will still have to be able to access our business manager and the services. They will have virtual services. So we're not dropping them completely, Minister. And for another 2 years, we'll still give them the dummy or the bottle now and again. So without any further ado, I'm going to call the first graduate, and that is Dimpio Mashile. She is the founding director of Khanyo Cosmetics. She's working, where is Dimpio? Come up. Just stand over there. Her business is in the manufacturing sector, producing beauty products. She joined business GBI as a startup, really a startup, in August 2021, and has been with us for 3 years. The business has shown growth during this period, and its products were successfully tested and approved by the SABS, the South African Bureau of Standards. And that is something which CEDA supported, and through the program, her products are declared ready, market ready.
So I hope we're going to see them in Clicks and Discam. She deserves more applause. Come on. If the graduates can just stay here, they're by the program director. The next person we are calling up is Louis Sweni. He is the founding director, if you'll come up here, of LSG Network Technology in the ICT sector, and they do desktop support, graphic design, fiber installation, and branding. He joined our incubator in October 2021 and has been with the program for 3 years. Their business has had business training and workshops and a lot of market linkages, and that has led to their clientele and turnover increasing in desktop support, graphic design, and branding. So he's graduating today. We wish you well. Thank you. Congratulations. Is Lebogang here? The next person we'd like to call up is Lebogang Skosana. Her company is Yellow Rice, trading as Toka Essentials. She's in the manufacturing sector, producing beauty products, joined GBI in September 2021 and has been with the program for 3 years. The business has shown growth during this period, and her products were also successfully tested and approved by SABS, and through the program her products have been declared market ready, and so is she. Congratulations.